Hi, Gary Hoberman, CEO, founder for Unqork. Pleasure being here with you today, and thanks for joining in the first of a series highlighting what I like to call fearless technology leaders. So I actually have the experience of climbing up the corporate ladder on Wall Street, working what I call inside out, and now as CEO of Unqork, seeing the organizations outside in and both sides of this. And as part of that, one of the biggest pleasures is actually working with clients where you could actually see what a difference technology could make to their companies. And those technology leaders, I categorize as one of our core values in Unqork, which is fearless. It's belief that you could actually do something magical with technology and make a difference to your customers, your shareholders, your companies. And with that today, I have the pleasure of having Susan Rousseau from State Street join me as a first of these fearless leaders. And thank you for joining, Susan.
Great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you. And Susan, I think to start, if you could share a little bit of background of your journey throughout the corporate world and background in technology would be amazing for the audience.
Sure, of course. Well, I spent my career primarily grew up at the same company and spent the first third of it or so in technology, migrated over to product, managed operations, and probably the last third. So I've had a variety of different roles, but always have thought of myself as a technologist at heart. And I joined State Street about 4 years ago and have led their global operations, and more recently started to run the digital transformation for both our onboarding and our operations side.
That's awesome. And so you've been here through pretty much a journey I also saw, which was at one point technology was embedded in the business. It was like you knew what was going on, and then through the CIO function and back to where we are now, where COVID and pandemic has shown there's no more room to not be digital and its requirement. What in your experience do you think has been holding back banking from really embracing all the benefits technology has, and what's been the drivers there?
I mean, I think just in general, the regulatory environment, the need to drive resiliency, some of the cybersecurity. I think there's been a variety of things over the years that are priorities that sometimes make it difficult to drive the innovation. So I think that would be some of the primary things. It's also hard, some of the legacy systems, to invest in the upgrades and to change them as rapidly as you might want to.
That's I remember when I was a managing director at Citigroup, I used to have 15 names on the wall behind me on the whiteboard, and each one of them probably wanted to run me over with an 18-wheeler truck. And if it got below 15, it meant I probably wasn't doing my job, because you have to make a difference. You have to be able to believe in that, which is awesome, Susan. And what do you think is the sea of change driving now that you're seeing drive technology, the needs?
Well, I would say that what's really been just tremendous in our partnership with Unqork and some of our other low-code providers is just the ability to have an impact more rapidly. The hardest thing is when you can lose momentum, and when you lose momentum, you lose funding. So, when in the old days when you're developing code in more of a classic environment, you spend all that time with a BRD. I mean, we did move to an agile environment, maybe more rapid releases, but you don't always get the capability delivered to the end users as rapidly as you want. And when they can't see it and touch it, it's sort of hard to really gain that momentum, so you don't keep at the pace. So what we love about the low-code solutions and Unqork has been our partnership and our ability to deliver capability in 4 to 5 months. It might have taken a year, 18 months previously.
Yeah, it's amazing because I lived through, as you did, the transition from when you're no longer in the business, you have to basically communicate with the business in terms that sound like you're building a house. It's like that was the analogy we used to do with waterfall and SDLC, which is, hey, business partner, I know it's going to take 3 years, but I need you to sign off on this blueprint of where you want the windows to be without knowing yet where it is until you walk through it. Right. And I lived through Agile as this great concept, but the reality was, a lot of times Agile is really good for smaller projects, but these large transformations, like you build the walls and then all of a sudden you realize there's no plumbing, and you're celebrating to go live with a sprint that didn't add the value yet and can't use and benefit. And so it's this amazing backlog management we've seen. And it's fast. It's all about driving business value, which is what you're highlighting, and it's great. Where do you see banking investing these days? Where is digitization going in banks?
Well, I think there's a variety of different areas. I mean, we're focusing very much on our tools for our operations folks and self-service portals for our clients. So we're very focused on trying to make the experience for our clients and our associates and our employees better, giving them the right tools so they can be successful and they can provide a higher level of service. So that's a major, continuing to invest obviously in our trading platforms. You know, I'm in the global markets part of State Street, but I think anything that touches our clients, anything that is going to make our, make us more efficient, more cost effective is areas of focus. And then throughout the firm, continued focus on cybersecurity, on resiliency, and on, digital, all the DLT capabilities as well.
That's awesome. It was something I learned, really, it took me about 20 years to learn this, but we always think about business requirements and business value in terms of, first off, is it on time, on budget, which doesn't mean much, but the value component is where, you're hitting on. It's the most important is, do you achieve the value from that? Are you reducing your expense? Are you increasing your revenue, increasing your gross margin? Where is it actually coming from? So that's fascinating. When you think about that and what we did, there was an exercise I remember doing on one. We had a $170 million development project at some point I was managing in a Fortune 50 company, and it was a major transformation of the business needed to be done. But we went back and had to map every business requirement to one of the drivers, reduced expense or increased revenue, and literally it eliminated half the requirements that were out there. And it's a healthy exercise to do. I think it's our role as technologists to really drive that. And how much paper do you still see today? Is there still a lot of paper?
Well, I also, in my prior career, saw lots of paper. So we've been on that movement to move away from paper. So, we have a lot of manual touch points. There's a lot of paper. We're doing some work to try to deal with the unstructured data, the information we get that is in kind of a paper format or an email format and whatnot. But where we work directly, there's not as much paper, but there are other parts of the bank, and there's certainly where that's much more intensive. So, but I've been through the whole mission of trying to get people onto more online ways of communicating, and it's a journey.
Yeah, there was one presentation stood out. Definitely not State Street, of course, and it wasn't banking; it was a different industry, but heavily plagued by paper. And I remember when we presented to them, the first few questions were all around blockchain, which we don't use, and around Siri and Alexa and everything going on, and then we ask the question we always ask is like, what's plaguing your business? What's the thing you haven't been able to achieve with technology yet? And the answer was, can you help us get rid of the fax machines? It's running the business. And this is recent. And so it is amazing to see like that disconnect there. But it was amazing. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was going to say the faxes are so common in the corporate action space, in the FX space. I mean, there's certain places where they just dominate, and so it's harder to get folks to move away from that. But there's been major change in that space and a lot of inroads. But I think there's still opportunity.
That's awesome, and it has been an incredible partnership with you, Susan. The first time we met in our office and just driving with your team. And it shows what you can accomplish with a business that executes well and actually drives well with a technology that eliminates the code and just makes it easier. But and we're excited. I mean, the partnership's just beginning, so we're super excited by that. And what would you say for a technologist starting out? I'm curious. Any advice you would say someone coming into the workforce right now during the pandemic, coming out of college in technology? Any advice you would give?
Well, I love self-learners. So one of the things that I pride myself in terms of hiring and trying to demonstrate for my team is, one is a humbleness. I always say, get your hands dirty, get involved, but also, delegate appropriately. But I really like self-learners. I like folks. I had one person on my team when we started working with cloud, who took a cloud course over the weekend just to understand it, because she had to go to even though that wasn't her expertise, she needed to go into an architectural review. So I'm a fan of having that type of, I try to demonstrate that myself. So any technologist, take a Python course, take a course, even if you're not doing it, the more you understand the world of technology, get into the infrastructure space, I think it makes you, the breadth makes you a little bit more effective in any area that you're going to operate. But I do love I'm sorry, I was just going to say also, I love in the past in my career with more classic IT, the end user development folks were the folks that kind of were close enough to the business to be able to innovate and strategize as well as deliver. And I think that's what this low code revolution is really impacting. It gives you the folks where you've got the expertise and the closeness to the business who are also doing some design. So I think that iterative nature is we're really trying to enable and really can accelerate the value.
And that iterative nature, like where do you see banking going in the next 5 years? So assuming that that's achieved and you're able to expedite the value driven with technology, where are we in 5 years from that perspective? What's your vision?
I think more of that front to back servicing. I think that there are a lot of folks who want to focus on their core value and not necessarily some of the things that they're doing and performing. So, investment management, they want to not really manage the funds and not necessarily all the other work. So I think that the more we can offer to our clients broadly is going to make us, more attractive. As I mentioned, the self-servicing components of it, making it easier for folks to use to perform things the way they want. If we can customize, but not add a lot of complexity to our environment, that's going to be of the greatest interest to our clients. So any of the self-service portals that we're creating will help us service our clients better. Transparency is really crucial. I think that I always say that if people understand if you're performing some task for them where you are in the process, there's a lot more inquiries, a lot less concern, there's more confidence. So anything we can do to provide transparency to our clients is really important as well.
Yeah, I love what I keep hearing you talk about is the value based. It's, that's all it's about is it's like I always view technology as magical. It's able to create something from nothing. And I keep wondering what would it be like if all these talented technologists and engineers out there were building something of true value, differentiation, which is what it's how do you address your customer needs and how do you actually respond quicker, servicing. Can I ask a different question then, Susan? So like this since March, what's been keeping you sane? What have you been doing that's keeping you going?
Well, it's been we have a lot of tremendous support in our management leagues, folks who have used your tool before and other tools. So, Nadine, my boss, Dan Bouchard, we've got a lot of folks that are helping us and supporting us on this opportunity to really improve the environment. So that makes all the difference in the world. So I would say we've had a great year because we've had some of the funding. We've had great partnerships with Submit, with you, Gary, with the rest of the team, and some of our other low-code providers. So what I do think is so important, and I feel very almost paternalistic. I want to get the right tools, and I ran global operations for about 3 years. I want to get the right tools in the hands of our employees so they can achieve quality and really get, again, raise the level of servicing. So what's been so exciting since January is we're actually delivering those tools. They're in their hands, in really 4 to 5 months, we were able to launch our first onboarding tool. And then we also have launched some tools for our operations associates. So for me, it's been really satisfying to really have that impact. And hopefully we can maintain that momentum and do even more and really expand into other areas.
Absolutely. Susan, can I ask, so you came from the global operations background, that's what you think that gives you a different perspective on technology as opposed to someone who just was in technology and driving? I'm curious.
Yeah. And that's why I left technology, for a good time, because I really wanted to understand the business, because I think, as I mentioned, those end users, anyone who's working close to the business, you don't want to develop technology for the sake of developing technology. It's got to have an impact. And so I think that spending time in the business enables you to really understand the challenges and opportunities. And for me, I did spend 3 years, so I really understood some of the challenges here. And it was just a very manual environment. And now we're really developing some cool capability to just really accelerate, again, the servicing. So it's been great. And I do think that the tools are really going to make the difference, the technology and the automation.
That's awesome, Susan. Really, it's been, well, look, it's a pleasure to have you on. You can see the fearlessness through this. This is, you're absolutely an amazing partner for us, and we're excited by just this journey we're on with you, and it's incredible. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gary, for having me on your show. I enjoyed it, and look forward to continuing to partner with you and your firm.